In light of the latest home invasion, there was a meeting of the minds at the governor's mansion in Hartford. That's where on Thursday, Governor Jody Rao met with some heavy hitters in the criminal justice system, including Chief State's Attorney Kevin Kane and the commissioners for the Department of Correction and Public Safety. The governor told a crowd of reporters outside her Hartford residence that after the meeting, she realized there needs to be a study group to look at the persistent offenders law. But that doesn't mean, she says, that she is backing away from her call for a tough three strikes law.
That has nothing to do with three strikes. There is still a persistent offender statutes on the book. The three strikes would still be applicable. I mean, it still is out there, and I think that we will I know that we will continue to ask for that, but the persistent offender statutes really has different time frames, different sentencing structures, and I think that we just want to make sure that it is easier to use and easier and simpler to read.
More about possible three strikes legislation, our House Minority Leader, Mr. Larry Cafaro, a Republican from Norwalk, and Speaker of the House, Mr. Jim Amon, a Democrat from Milford. And I have to say, a little behind the scenes stuff going on. You guys are actually punching each other already under the desk. So can we please keep it in control? I believe John Connolly's still over there in case we need him. All right, let's get straight to it. First question is this, Mr. Speaker. You were upset that the governor did not invite you to this meeting on Thursday. It seems as if this is turning into somewhat of a political firestorm. You want to set the record straight on that first?
I don't understand why the governor wouldn't want the minority leader or the speaker or all the leaders at the meeting today. This is not just an executive branch issue. This is an issue where, as she had said, there was enough talk. It's time for action. Okay, fine, Governor. Then it was a simple request to have all leaders in the room listening to what the people on the front line had to say, so we can hopefully try to get some conclusions of what do we want to do next. As you heard from our prosecutor, John Connolly, earlier, there were some things that were done right. There were other things that he thinks that we should be doing to make the system better. I want to listen to the John Connollys of the world. They're the guys on the front line. And I'll listen to them. They are the experts, and whatever they need, we need to give them the tools to do their job.
So, Larry, you've been a huge advocate of a three strikes law, and you have someone like John Connolly who's saying, yeah, it would help. But then you also have Kevin Kane saying, well, he's not really so sure what good it would do. Have you changed your opinion at all?
No, not at all. And with all due respect to both gentlemen, people like Jimmy and myself and 183 others are elected to represent the people. And really, there's two things, Shelley. There's policy and there's process. And what we're talking about is policy. Do the people of the state of Connecticut, with regard to public safety, deserve us to adopt the following policy? When somebody is convicted not once, not twice, but 3 times by a jury of their peers beyond a reasonable doubt for a crime such as murder, arson, kidnapping, rape, should they go to jail for life? Our answer is yes. Let's discuss and vote on that policy. We could talk about process, etc. Let's talk about the policy. Thus far, the objection has been, and I respect it, I disagree with it, people think, no, that should not be the case. The judge should have discretion to send them away. We say no. After that 3rd time, there should be no discretion. They should go to wait for life. That's very simple. This is not complex.
Some would say 3 strikes is almost too much. However, some would say perhaps, you know, people may feel as if there's already discriminatory process in the judicial system. And, you know, some folks are worried about that. Mr. Amon, let's get straight to it. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to.
Put him on the spot.
Yes or no? Do you support a 3 strikes law?
I wrote the original bill. That's the most ironic thing about this. There are people out there think there's no 3 strikes bill in the state of Connecticut. I wrote the stalking bill. I wrote Megan's bill. I'm a death penalty guy. What do you think? I'm weak on crime, Mr. Minority Leader?
I didn't say that.
Let me tell you something.
I know you did Megan's law. You have done a lot with crime.
All these laws. So let's
you
stop.
wrote all these laws?
I certainly did. You want to go back in history? Stalking was mine. Megan's law was mine, and so was 3 strikes. Okay?
We don't have a 3 strikes.
Yes, we do. Larry, we do. Go back to the transcripts back in 92 and 93. I didn't want to get an argument about a bill that I passed and supported. We do.
Well, I guess we're
Let me
all
just finish. Let me just
Okay.
finish.
Let's-
We have a 3 strikes. We always have. We can call it persistent offender, 3 strikes, whatever you want to call it. Go back to the transcripts. The bill was 3 strikes. They changed the name. It was a 3 strikes bill. Let's stop with that stuff. Here's the reality. There is, since 1985 to 2005, there is a 232% increase in prison population. 8,000 prisoners were in 1992. There are 19,000 prisoners now. That's what people need to know. People are going to jail. And people like Prosecutor John Connolly are putting people to jail. They're doing their job. Violent crime is down. That's a fact. If you want to fan the fear out there, fan the flames of fear out there, people have to know what the facts are. And that's the fact. Nobody in the United States would have ever been convicted under this crime under any 3 strikes law. That's what people have to understand. Now, if John Connolly just tells me that there's a way to do a 3 strikes law that helps him to do his job, I'll listen to John Connolly. In all due respect, Mr. Minority Leader, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to Governor Rell. I want to listen to the guys on the front line that know what they're talking about. And if he can present a bill that's better than our persistent offender law, that has increased population for 232%, then I'll listen to him.
Larry.
First of all, the persistent felony offender law that the Speaker refers to as the 3 strikes bill,
he said the original
said,
3 strikes, the name changed.
Okay.
Back in history,
Those things, here's the way the law works. Upon the 3rd conviction, this is a law you wrote, so I'm sure the Speaker's familiar with it. Upon the 3rd conviction, a judge may sentence someone to life. He or she may not. What we're saying is, let's change the may to shall. They shall, upon that 3rd conviction, sentence them to life. Very simple. Very simple. Are you for it or are you against it?
And I have a very simple answer to that. If, in fact, in reality, somebody on the front line, a prosecutor tells me, and not just John Connolly, but all the prosecutors tell me that this is something that will actually put people in prison for a longer time than a shorter time, then I will listen to that. But the prosecutors, the governor's hand-picked task force, said nothing about 3 strikes you're out. In fact, what they did say, these are the tools we need. And the bottom line is they believe that it would have spent less time under the Republican bill with the 3 strikes than what we already have on the books now.
I got to cut it there,
Sure
Larry.
they did.
Never said it.
Connolly said it, not you.
Never said it.
Connolly,
Larry, you'll get the first time
our head
coming back.
prosecutor.
All right, we're coming
Sorry,
back.
John, it wasn't you.